Hey, Brittany. Hey, Ava. Thanks so much for joining me on a well-designed business today.
Hi, this is Brittany. Hi, Luann. Thanks so much for having us.
Hey, and this is Ava. Thank you so much for having us. We're so excited to be here.
Well, I'm thrilled. Like any friend of Rachel Bozick and Nancy Ganskalfer and Leslie Myrick is a friend of mine. So
Yes, we love
we
them.
are starting on the right foot. Okay. So first of all, you guys worked with Rachel. Like she helped you with your branding and your marketing and all of that, right?
She sure did. She's a wizard, and we probably tell everyone that we ever meet that they should work
Yeah,
with her too.
she's
You're
amazing.
welcome, Rachel.
It's the truth. It's the truth. I mean, so I know we're going to talk about your business, but it just hit me. I would love to know if either one of you could share, if something comes to mind, and this is like a pop question. I didn't prep you on it. We just did 45 minutes of prep, and now I'm doing something I didn't prep you on. That's why I tell everybody, you want the questions, but I'm not going to ask them anyway. I'm going to do what I want to do.
Going
So
rogue.
that's it. So all of a sudden it hit me. I'd be interested to know if either of you could pinpoint like an aha moment with working with Rachel or some little snippet that because I find, and this is your time to think about your answer while I continue to talk here. I find that she generally has hit each one of us that she's worked with no matter how insignificant or major it is, something where you're like, oh, yeah, I didn't think that about myself. I didn't see that about myself, or I didn't see that way to express that about my business. Anything come to mind for either of you guys with working with Rachel?
Yeah, so Brittany here. I whenever we're like telling other people about her, I think similar to what you were just saying, Luann, it's something about having an outside person that can just kind of observe, like see your business as a whole and be like, whoa, there's this whole superpower here that you're not even picking up on, and here's how to talk about it. Like that's honestly what like she just clarified our voice a lot more. I think we're so in the everyday and doing the grind that it's hard to see some of those big picture revelations, I guess. And so, yeah, just helping us hone in and get specific on what we do best.
Yeah, and this is Ava here. And I feel like she really helped us, I guess, kind of piggyback on what Brittany said, learn how to communicate what we do and how we do it and what we do best in a way that the consumer and our customers can digest it. And I also feel like sometimes as women, we aren't really good at talking about ourselves and kind of talking ourselves up. And so she gave us the confidence and the words and platform to do that.
Mm, I love that. And is there a specific thing that you can recall and trace back to where she identified something that you were like, oh, we knew we did that, but saying it that way, something along those lines, or no? Because I feel like everybody usually gets that sort of aha as opposed to, I don't know. And maybe it was just the permission, right? To like beat toot your own horn, right?
Yeah,
Just
I
like,
really do think that was it.
mm,
And just being like really crystal clear on our brand and who our ideal clients are, just to give us that messaging that, you know, it,
so that's a good question. So before working with Rachel, were you guys, because I know you both come from a background of photography in different fields, were you more like, hey, we can photograph your kid, we can photograph your wedding,
yes,
and now you're like, we do interior designers. Is that what
yes,
it was? Ah,
yes.
see,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
We
so
had the
even
niche down very much.
yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. This is Brittany again. We thought we had a niche and we were like, yeah, it's home industry people. So it could be like realtors or furniture makers or interior designers or whatever. And then yeah, she really helped us be like, yeah, but what you're really doing is like the most beneficial for this group of people. And even within this group of people here, like there's even a subgroup within those people and here's their exact pain points and here's how you're gonna like
Love it.
really just helped us get super focused.
Yes.
That's awesome. I love that. I'm glad to know that. And then, of course, I remember when you worked with Nancy Ganskaufer and Leslie at High Point Market and doing their brand photography. It was interesting because I was sitting in the IDS offices. Their IDS is Interior Design Society, and they have offices right there in High Point. And Jenny and Maddie often, they just, it's what's great about it. And if you've never been to IDS and High Point, I encourage you to stop by. They're right there on High Street, is it called? I don't know. Who knows the names? You just know how to walk everywhere, right? But it's not far from IHFC. It's like a block away, the radio building, it's called. And they're just there all day. Like you're tired, you're hungry, you need water, you need coffee, you need wine, you need candy, you need food. And they just are there and they welcome you in. And it's kind of like this pit stop along the day. And of course, they'll have organized activities and socials and so forth. But I was there in the middle of my day one day, like, yep, I need a breather, folks. I need a breather. I need to take the shoes off. I need some hydration. Um,
What? Not
and
at High
right.
Point.
And Nancy and Leslie came in and they were on such a high because they had just come from shooting with you ladies. And they both were just so excited to share with us. And so this is what you do. You do brand photography. You do interior photography for designers. You
Mhm.
do brand photography where you can go to a designer studio. If a designer has a studio in Texas and she's got a team or he's got a team of 3, 4, 20, doesn't matter. You can come in their space, but you also do this at High Point where somebody can book ahead of time and they can get in your calendar and they've got all their pretty clothes with them and there's all the pretty beautiful showrooms and the furniture and you spend this session with them. And that's what Nancy and Leslie had just done. And so I love this niche that you're talking about here that you do. Tell me if somebody when you approach a brand shooting session for an interior designer at market like that, how do you know? Like I've been through branding photography 3 times now. One was completely different than the other 2 times, and I just had a podcast episode about it with Raj, and we'll link it in the show notes. But it was it isn't just show up and I don't know you and I just start shooting. So what's your prep look like if somebody were to book you now looking forward to the fall because spring is already booked? Sorry, too late. You can't book spring. Um, but they want to book fall. What's the prep look like and how do I know that it's not like your, Olin Mills photographer type thing. I don't know if anybody knows who that is, but it's like saying Arthur Murray Dance Studios. It's like a photography studio that everybody took their kids to like 40 years ago.
The J.C. Penney
Yes, the
photo.
J.C. Penney
Yeah.
photo shoot. That's a better example, right? So
Got
talk
it.
to me about the process. How do you pick it apart with a designer in order that day is worth it, that session is worth it?
Yes, good question. So this is Brittany again. We have developed a questionnaire that goes pretty in depth. Things like what would your friends and family describe your personality as? Kind of even more just psychological questions, and then as well
Mm.
as like where are you hoping to take your brand? What's your aesthetic? All of that. We have a stylist who helps with the wardrobe too, so she includes some questions. She's taking all of this input as well to help you gather what you're going to be wearing for your session.
Oh, wow.
But it helps us kind of understand the vibe, because if you think about any of like the kind of household interior designers that have a good presence on social media, there's like the Kelly Worstlers who are like edgy, boss babe, artsy, high fashion. That's a whole vibe, and like you can see her posed and it's like that's her. She owns that chair that she's sitting on or whatever it is.
Right.
Versus like some of the more sweet, soft, open, traditional, like a Joanna Gaines who's trying to be a everyman, like,
Your best
relate to anyone.
girlfriend.
Exactly. And so we take that information and we make a whole game plan, a shot list of like, here's what we think we're going to be getting you into these kinds of poses. We'll get you a good mixture of like formal headshots and behind the scene, like going through fabric samples or shopping with your rep or whatever it is. And it's all according to where you're hoping to take your brand. It's trying to be a little more, what's the word? Just be prepared. Know where your content's trying to go and be
Mm.
proactive with
Yeah.
it, rather than like, oh, I really need something to post on Instagram right now. What? Oh, here's a weird selfie.
Right, 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 right. Yeah. How about you, Ava? What do you want to add to that whole perspective there that you guys are doing prepping wise?
Yes, we would be doing everyone an injustice if we didn't do the back work, ourselves. So we spend a lot of time just even stalking your Instagram or your website, and we do your consult call and it's our job to get to know you, who you are, and where you're going with your brand and how you want the world to see you. And so, yeah, we just make sure that we do all of that back end work and have a really great understanding of you and your brand. So,
What I love about that is that we probably, knowing that you're going to do this back work and this stalking and so forth, there might be some of us that are like, what you see is not what I like, right? Like that could be a thing too, but that's also speaks volumes to you two as artists that are trying to interpret somebody's vision for themselves, right?
Mm,
yes. And we get that a lot. This is Ava. We have a lot of interior designers who are going through a rebrand where maybe they are brand new. And while we're not, branding experts like for your brand,
Right.
we
your
have,
logo.
contacts. Rachel,
Yes.
um, hire someone to help you get really crystal clear. We can ask you all the questions and try to get as close to it as possible, but sometimes you need a true expert in that field. And we're
Hmm.
not saying hold off on your branding photos until you do get crystal clear, but it always does really help the projection of your photos.
Yeah, I was gonna add, this is Brittany again. Uh, we usually recommend that you update your branding photos every year or two anyway, because if you're doing a good job in your business, you probably are evolving a little bit. You're gonna kind of narrow down and get more focused on your brand anyway, and certain things might change. Certain fashions are out of style, your haircut is different, you colored it, whatever it is. So yeah, certainly if you're not like, oh shoot, I wish I was a little more crystal clear though, I guess I can't get branding photos, it's not like, yeah, you better put them off and don't even think about it till you know, because people are out there to help, we're here to help, and people who think they're crystal clear on it right now, it might shift a little bit next year
Exactly.
anyway. So
I love that because I agree. I mean, when I came into my last branding shoot, I was so much clearer than I was when I did the first one 8 years ago. But you couldn't have waited 8 years to have branding photographs. That's your point. It's like
Don't.
mhm.
whoever you are today is who you are today. Get it on print and on digital and put it out there, right? And
Yes.
yeah, that was part of the intake form that you guys did, that you want to stress the importance that literally branding photos should be done once a year. I have gone this time, and because of COVID, I ended up going 3 years. I've usually done it every 18 months to 2 years.
Mhm.
Um, but I think I'm not an interior photographer. I'm not an interior designer either. Like I'm as an interior designer, I could see your guys' point about once a year because I'm literally saying I'm stylish. like
Yes.
I know aesthetic, I know style. And if my photograph something is a sort of little out of style, well, now that my target client is an interior designer, they might get a little at it, but I'm here to teach you the business. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have to look pretty doing it, right? I mean, it'd be nice if
Mhm.
I look presentable, but I do think there is something about you expect your interior designer to have a style. I don't expect to be any handsomer or prettier or anything, but there has to be an element of put together. I have to say, oh, if you can put yourself together, then you can put my room together. Do you think that's true?
Yes, absolutely. And I think we were talking about this before we started recording, but just another way that interior designers are kind of unique is you're being invited into this very intimate space. Like somebody's home is such a trust that they're putting in you. And regardless of if the remodel or whatever project you're doing is 6 weeks or 2 years, you're about to be like seeing people in their marital fights over budgets. You're about to be seeing how dirty their kids' room is. And they want to feel like they can trust you, and showing up, putting your face out there is going to make all the difference between someone just finding a pretty thing that you did and screenshotting it and sending it to someone else as your inspo, or being like, no, I could see this person in my house with my
Mm.
family helping me design my home.
And to that point, do you guys probably at High Point, it's when you do the High Point brand photography, it's probably not as easy to really do like you could do behind the scenes of design, right? Like you said, I'm meeting with my rep, I'm looking at this fabric selection, I'm looking at this lighting collection. But when you do it at someone's studio on site, do you do some of that lifestyle stuff because right? That gets me as a consumer. If I am the house that is the messy house, listen, I did custom window treatments for 40 years. There's a lot of people who live in messy houses, right? They are, right?
Mhm.
And some live in like neat as a pin, and most are in between somewhere. But if I feel like all I ever see is perfection, and I'm looking at my house with 3 kids and 2 dogs and 20 cats, I'm like, yeah, I can't have her in here or him in here. I'm going to be embarrassed. I need to see the other side, don't I?
For sure. That's something we kind of try to keep up with the social media trends in general, just because that's always shifting. And for sure, things are trending more like people want to see real stuff too. It can't be all so curated and so perfect because that, in a way, doesn't build trust either because people don't think you're real. You're just this beautiful robot that's always dressed perfectly in whatever it is.
Mhm.
So having a good mixture is just kind of what we recommend. Like if your portfolio is elevated and beautiful and to the nines and you're always showing up a selfie in your tracksuit or whatever, I make the tracksuit joke because that's what
For me,
Luann
thank
was
you.
joking about. Um, then that's going to feel like a weird mismatch of like, well, their aesthetic is this, but I don't see it in their personness. But then same on the other side, if everything's too fancy, it's like they're too fancy, they're going to judge me. So I think a good mixture, the way we kind of do it is we'll make like a beautiful cover photo for our feed, but the reel is actually just a behind the scenes thing of us in our sweatpants styling the table or something, or at a
Yeah.
coffee shop editing photos, so that it shows up pretty on the feed, but we can still have real stuff.
Yeah.
People are still seeing us sipping our coffee and twitching ADD, whatever. They're still seeing our real
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
our beautiful.
Well, and right, so Ava, on this same line of thought, if I am that person that has the crazy household and it's always chaotic and there's always a mess. I don't need to see that my designer's house is a mess too, but maybe I need to see that she does possibly or he does have 3 kids and a dog. So then I'm seeing her normal or him normal, but I'm like, yeah, I know, like I can take the leap that your house isn't always perfect too, right?
Yeah,
Is that yeah.
absolutely. And there's different ways that you can show up as a, true human being with flaws and or not flaws, but just, being a human, like stories and like Brittany said, showing up, you may have a beautiful curated portfolio or Instagram feed, but there may be a reel where, you are talking off the cuff in your living room with your kids running in the background, talking about why or what size rug you need for your, living room or dining room too. So there's other ways to incorporate being a true human and all of that inside um, of a beautifully curated portfolio and outward facing photo.
Yeah. And the thing that I think where I'm settling on this is there is a place for I did take a selfie and I am doing this and nothing is perfect. But I recently, do you guys know Breegan Jane? She's a big
Yes.
celebrity designer, right? So I just interviewed her a couple of days ago. So I don't know if your show is up first or her show is up first when you're listening to this, but they're all around each other. And what's interesting is if you know Breegan's brand and you follow her Instagram, there is a lot of like, here's me and my 2 boys, and we are on a trip, and we are on a this, and we are getting on a plane, and we are like all like eating ice cream together. But what was interesting is that she told us on air that's all set up. Like and not in a way like don't believe that it's not true. In a way that she was like, and this is what I think is important about doing branding photography, is that what she is saying is she grew from 0 to what she's at very intentionally. And we had a very frank conversation about I always knew when I was here, I wanted to go here. And when I was here, I wanted to go here. Okay. And so what she's saying is, I want you to know who I am as a mother, as a philanthropist, as a designer, as a influencer. But I always want it to look nice. So I want good lighting. I want the composition. And so it can be me and my natural element with my natural real children. And one of them might be upside down and the other one might be eating an ice cream cone. But I don't call that fake because she's not like, I really don't take my kids anywhere. I just put them in the photo shoots.
Right.
She's
Mhm.
literally a mother that homeschools her children in order for them to be in her world, and her world is all over the globe. And so,
Mhm.
but she said that they set it up. The photographer, the branding people have got the storyboards created on this day. You guys are going to be here on this vacation or in this area you're doing business. And that's the part that I agree with you. Every year, your photography could be done because, yes, Tuesday we're looking at tile and something blew up, and we're going to talk about it on stories. But just because I want to see your backstory doesn't mean I want it to be like crappy quality, right?
Right. Yeah. And on the back end, you can be, like you said, that stuff is for her is very planned out. And so if she's intentional with that and she knows that that's what she wants to portray, then she can make that really beautiful, have beautiful photos in her feed of her doing that. And that just goes to show that people want to buy from people and work from other people, not necessarily a stiff brand.
Right.
So that just kind of
Right.
goes with all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I follow her and I want because I love Regan. She's such a good human. And we're friends in real life and all the things. And I follow her. I watch her feed and I follow her posts and stuff. And I really didn't know if it was all off the cuff or was it planned. And because it does come out as very, I'm just in the middle of my life. But the
Mhm.
intentionality behind it is that I am a brand and this is my brand and it includes all these parts of my life, but I'm always going to present it at the best that I can. And I think that aligns with your pay attention to your brand photography that you guys are saying, right?
Yeah, I would just add, there's something to like you're a real person, but it doesn't have to be so like it can all still align with the brand messaging that you're trying to give to the people on your business Instagram. Like you don't need to be like, I'm in the middle of crying because I'm having a fight with my husband or whatever. Like if that's not on brand for you, you don't have to be that real. Like
Right.
you can be as real as what is on brand for you.
Right.
And you
Right.
can call your friend about fighting with your husband or whatever. Like Instagram doesn't need to know all of it. But
Exactly.
yeah, what can connect that's real and on brand?
Yeah. It's funny because you mentioned, you know, who can you picture? Who and why can you picture them? What's memorable about it is what I'm hearing when you think about somebody right? So the question is, look, everybody knows that I wear green, something green wherever I go, right? Started a long time ago, started the first year of the podcast in a conversation. Actually, it started from Kim at Window Works, a thought with her, and then a conversation with Kelly Ellis cemented it. And we can link that episode in the show notes. It was a fun conversation. But it's not just about the color somebody wears, right? Right. And so, like, when I think of Corey Damon Jenkins, are you ladies familiar with Corey Damon, right?
Yes,
How can you not be,
yes.
right? Like, you live under a rock, right?
Beautiful.
But that's just it. To me, if you were to ask me the question, who's the last person you saw on social and what is the memorable part? To me, Corey is elegant. Like, yes,
Sophisticated.
it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if it's his shot of his room, if it's a shot of him in it, if he's standing on his head. He's elegant and sophisticated, to your point, Brittany. Good catch. So the thing is, how does somebody tap into what is that thing? Because it isn't just like, oh, you have to be recognizable by wearing green. Like that's not the thing. Like most designers aren't going to show up in the same color all the time, and nor should they, right?
Yes. So I think there's a few parts to this. One, we try to help as much as we can with all that back end prep of trying to find like that's why we ask what do your friends and family think about you because sometimes other people have more awareness of you than you have of yourself. And so if it's something you're already kind of naturally doing and showing up as, maybe you just need someone to point out like, okay, here's your secret sauce, let's lean into this. um that being said, if it's something you're really like, wow, no, I think I even need more clarity, hire a coach. Like
Yeah.
I feel like some of our best clients have come by way of other business coaches, because they're already in this mindset of like trying to get really clear on their brand and their business and how to do it. And that outside person has told them, here's exactly what your thing is. And then we're able to take that and run with it because they're fired up about it too.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
so I guess both. Hire a photographer that specializes in it that can help direct you. And if you feel like you need more, hire a coach.
And so can you think for somebody that hasn't hired a coach yet and maybe is not in a position to do it at this point, are there other examples? I know you guys have worked with over 100 interior designers at this point. So are there other examples that you might call out? Like, so for example, you mentioned Kelly Wersler. She's like boss babe, right? She owns the chair. She designed it. She built it. She owns it. It's her chair she's sitting in. Stop. Go away. Right? Like, right? Okay. And then we have Corey Damon, elegant and sophisticated. Can you call out, because I think, yes, if you have the opportunity to work with a Rachel Bozick Johansson or someone like that, or Nicole Heimer, Gloria Brand, who does brand discovery, yay, 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 yay. Okay. But what I find is that most people are looking too far away. So what are some of the brand's identifiers in the people that you've worked with, just like elegant and sophisticated? Doesn't matter if I'm wearing a tracksuit or a three-piece suit, Corey's going to look elegant and sophisticated. I'm thinking some people, maybe they are introverted, but they are readers or they're museum goers. Or are there things like that that come to mind that just get the designers listening to say, oh yeah, that's a thing for me. Like, you get where I'm going?
Yeah. So are you kind of asking, like, are there certain, I don't want to say like tropes, but kind of just like pattern, like some people kind of fall into this category, a lot of people fall into this
Yeah, and
category.
I don't even necessarily mean categories. Literally, like, for example, you know, what I've learned is my brand is the wackiness. That's what I've learned. My brand is I'm direct, I'm Jersey. I'm going to tell you like it is, and we're going to have a great time doing it. We're probably going to laugh our butts off. You know what I'm saying? And what I learned was my original brand photography was very, I'm a businesswoman and I will teach you how to run a very well-designed business. And please come to me and you can trust me for that. And it was like, what are you doing? You're going to do that, but you're going to do it in your wacky, loudmouth way. And so the photographs now are all me having a great time.
Yeah.
And so I don't mean for you to put different people in categories. Just name some categories, name some situations where you can think of living, breathing clients. Just somebody else might be like, oh yeah, I'm wacky too, or I'm elegant too.
Sure. Yeah. One I can think of, a recent one for us, it feels like maximalism is coming so into play right now, into trend. And one of our clients this last fall market was total that like maximalist, loud, not just in her design, but like the way she is dressing, the way her personality is. She's just like bold, vibrant, loud, both aesthetically and personality wise. So that was kind of one we made sure her posing showed that it
Was
wasn't
not
like arms
demure.
crossed or
Yes, right.
yes, exactly.
Right.
It was like open, wild,
Yeah.
vibrant.
Yes.
Versus like one I'm thinking of kind of does like the higher end, like her clients are the top 1% earners in Scottsdale, Arizona, like Paradise Valley area, really ritzy rich. And so she's trying to look demure, honestly. She's trying to look
Yes.
like elegant, high class. I belong in your $17 million home. I'm
Right.
the woman for the job.
Like, I'm not going to come here banging doors down. I'm going to elegantly sashay across the floor.
Exactly. Yes. So I'm
Okay.
trying to think, maybe Ava has other,
Maybe
I'm
it's
trying to think
somebody
of any
like,
other.
Southern belle, like Southern hospitality, very
Mm.
smiley and friendly and welcoming and warming, and loves
Giving me
soft
the
colors
cookies.
and flowers and all of the things.
Okay. So that's the thing, right? Like, a lot of times we're looking for something so, and even like if you take me, it isn't the green clothes. It's the personality.
Yeah.
So maybe on there are green clothes, but it's the personality. And that was, to me, I was missing that. The branding was, I just show up in a shoot with green clothes on and I've now branded myself. You see,
Exactly.
that's
Yes.
that level of growth as a entrepreneur, right? Of understanding where you're going.
Yes. Well, and that's such a key to why you should hire someone who specializes in brand photography, because you might already have a relationship with your interior design photographer. I know a lot of the listeners out there probably on the end of their install week, they also ask their photographer at the photo shoot, like, oh, could you get a picture really quick of me, like, doing this? And a lot of people, a lot of our clients have said that their photographer feels uncomfortable, or is like, or don't tag me on that, or something, like, because they don't feel comfortable with it. They don't feel like that's their top-notch work. Like, I'm really good at interiors. I don't know how to do you.
Oh, I
And
see what you're
so,
saying. I missed that. So people are
so
asking their interiors photographer to do
yeah, for
some
pictures.
branding headshots at
Yes,
the
well,
install.
just while
That's
we're here
awesome.
at install, which is like if you, I'm not like poo-pooing that, because it is good. Like,
Better than
if you
nothing.
can step
Better than your
into a
iPhone.
photo, yes, exactly, do it. But if you go with someone who really understands the ins and outs of branding, and therefore can help you with like this, the way you are standing with your chin up and your arms put is going to give a whole different vibe from if your chin is this way and your arms are this way. And yeah, you're more than just wearing green. Our theme is vibrant, loud, whatever it is. And like,
Mhm.
here's all the things that are going to portray that visually, not just, I don't know, stand here, the light looks fine. And
I
Yes, yes,
know.
yes,
And
yes.
a lot of
I
times
mean,
people feel really frazzled
yeah.
at the end of a photo shoot. You're styling, you're moving things, you're running around, you're sweating, you have a change of clothes, but it may not be exactly what you wanted. It may feel rushed, and you leave feeling like you have an okay photo, but you're not totally confident in it. So,
I'm shocked. I've never known anybody to do that, and obviously you have known many that have done it. You're yeah, see,
yes.
that just blows me away. That just blows me away. I just even from that practical standpoint of forget the obvious that an interiors photographer is not always a person photographer. You guys happen to have education and background in both. That's unusual, right?
Hmm.
But forget that. That to me is the first, like, what are we doing? We're asking the plumber to hang the wallpaper. Like, I don't get that. But I just find it, I just think it's so clear that by the end of an install, I, like, I'm not even gonna be in that headset. Like what?
yeah.
Like, unless you were dousing me with wine at that point, what are you taking a picture of me doing? Because I'm done. I'm shot. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think
So,
it's just really convenient because a lot of
mm,
times people have a hard time getting back into that space, especially if it's residential too.
oh,
If they want to have photos in the space that they designed,
got it. Got it.
it's
Makes
kind
more
it
sense.
is a little bit more tricky to get back into that space after you're finished.
Right. So instead, maybe you don't have a design studio. Maybe you work out of your home, and this is one of the rare opportunities to have you in your work.
Exactly.
That makes more sense. I could see that, but I do think it's. I just feel like you're at least 50% chance of not having a good outcome, right?
Yes. Well, because the other thing is, like, now we've kind of explained some of the back end process. If you're just hiring your interior design photographer to do all of that, that's now putting all of that work on you. Like, you're having to become the art director of your own shoot and know exactly how to dress yourself and how you should be posing yourself and all of that. And that's not an interior designer's expertise. It shouldn't be. You've got so many things you're doing otherwise. Like, you shouldn't have to art direct your own branding shoot. You should be able to pass that off to an expert and breathe easy,
Yeah.
knowing they'll take care of it.
And I feel like, yes, probably an interior designer is marginally more qualified to figure out a branding shoot storyboard than your garden variety, window treatment person or CPA, right?
Yes, yes.
But it's still like, this is ultimately a reflection of you in the world. And are you the expert in this, right? Are you really going to think of it? To me, it's just like we have 1,000 people that we know that, are just people running around in the wild that have good taste and fancy themselves, you know, decorators, designers for their friends and family. And they might do a good job. They might actually put together a beautiful room, but it's not the same thing as a professional interior designer approaching that room. And that's that nuance, right?
Yes, absolutely. Good analogy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, having an aptitude for something is completely different than having a skill set and a recognized expertise in it.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me a little bit about these high point shoots. So here's how it works. You have a website. We go onto it. We click and we make an appointment for a discovery call. You go out on a limb. We didn't review this, but I'm going to make an assumption.
Yes, that's right.
And then from that, do I have to decide from that if I want to proceed, or do I get does a Q&A and all that comes once I'm an actual client? Is that the point? Like you're not reviewing a Q&A for every garden variety, designer that thinks they might want to hire you, right?
Correct. Yeah, we'll do a discovery call, a consult call, and we'll just kind of explain a little more the ins and outs of the actual branding session, in this case, the high point session. So we would tell you everything about that questionnaire. We would tell you that our celebrity stylist is going to help you choose your outfits. You don't have to even do that. We've got hair and makeup set up for you at High Point. We've rented out the High Point Theater's dressing rooms, and our hair and makeup team is just there to get you glammed up before your session. You have an hour and 15 minutes of a shoot time in a showroom that fits your brand. We already have permission from those showrooms ahead of time. It's really nice using showrooms too, because sometimes maybe like you don't have any portfolio pieces that you feel like are really showcasing. Maybe you're trying to kind of shift directions and all your past work is a certain style and you really want to showcase something else. Showroom backdrop, like you can really start having people associate you with those products and that style. We do your session. Afterwards, you get anywhere from 40 to 80 images.
Wow.
Finished. That's all for you to, when Architectural Digest wants to publish a piece on you, you've
You're
got a
ready
beautiful
to go.
headshot to submit. And then afterward, we've partnered with a social media expert too, who's made these custom templates just for our clients for a 30-day social media. It's got caption ideas and ways you can use your photos and things, so you're not just left hanging on the backside
that's
of
nice.
like, now what do I do with my photos? So we would explain all of that to you on the consult call, and if you're like, yes, please sign me up, from there we'll send you a link to our calendar. You can pick your time slot, you pay your deposit, and then we'll get going with the questionnaires and all the planning and everything.
I love it. It's funny because I will just say it feels like, that social media aspect with the captions and how to do it feels like, whatever. No. If I had a nickel for every time we did something in a marketing way here, whether it's the docuseries, whether it's the brand photography, we're like, okay, we have this great asset now. Now what? like how do we get it out there? What do we do with it? If I had a template and go thing, yep, I would take one of those, please, all day long. Right?
Yes,
it's not to be underestimated. This is it's a big investment of time and energy to have brand photography done.
Yeah.
And then to not get the legs out of it, the post event it's really a waste of the investment, truthfully.
Yes, I feel like sometimes a lot of people, we've seen people not like love their sessions and they don't show it. They may change their profile photo, but they don't know how to implement it into their workflow, their strategy, their social media, marketing, etc. So I feel like that's what we try to do is we try to find the pain points and where people really need help when it comes to photography, and we try to fix that. We try to fill that gap.
I love that. I mean, I'm telling you, like I'm stressing, I know that is a really good deliverable, and it's unusual. I've never met a photographer that gives that deliverable. It's like, hey, thanks for the shoot. See you. Bye. Have a good, hope you use them a lot. Tag me.
No, yeah, we're excited because that's something we're just starting to implement for this spring market. We found a girl who's amazing at what she does, and it's going to be so good because, yeah, that felt like it was kind of the missing piece of like, we're delivering so much on the front end and the day of the shoot, and then it feels like we're just leaving people hanging, and it's sad.
Right,
so sad.
right,
So
right.
we're excited to offer that.
I love it. I love it. And then, of course, you are available for the brand photography in a location. So you could be anywhere in the US and you will fly to them and you'll work out those fees and how that works and what that's like. So as we are on air in spring of 2024, you are booked for High Point Spring. You are booking High Point Fall. And I need to tell you guys, there's only 12 slots per High Point. So I would not dilly-dally. If you feel like you'd like to work with these ladies in High Point, we're talking fall of 2024, as you're listening to this recording, if you're listening in real time. Is there anything about this that I didn't ask you guys that you're like, oh, no. Don't leave without letting us say this or express this or share this idea. otherwise, I have to say for me, I love the process. I love the accessibility of being able to do it when I'm at market. Oh, I do have one question.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. Like, what's the deal with the stylist? Am I like taking pictures of all the clothes I have and the stylist is like, put that shirt with that belt and that shoes? Or is the stylist like, from Pinterest, these are the kind of outfits? Like, how does that work?
So, when we send the questionnaire, we'll combine. She has her own separate questionnaire to kind of figure out. She also has a marketing background, which is great,
Mm,
in business and all the things. And we'll combine our questionnaire. She'll ask what she needs to ask in order to feel out your branding, your style, all of the things, and then she'll put together two looks for you on a mood board, and with shoppable links, and you can either shop for those pieces or you can source from your own wardrobe.
okay. Okay. Interesting. It'd be interesting just to see what somebody comes up with, right? And do you find that most of your clients will then either shop or source from the wardrobe, or they walk in and are like, I didn't like those suggestions. Here's what I'm wearing. That would be me. I'd be like, I can't do
I
that.
think the nice thing is, she'll kind of ask your budget ahead of time too,
Oh,
because I think that could be something like, oh no, she's only going to give me like designer options, and I don't want to spend $7,000 on two outfits.
right, right.
So she tries to make it as accessible to you
Right,
to
like,
where
are
you
you a
will want to
Nordstrom
buy it.
shopper or a Neiman shopper, right? Like, where are
Yes.
you going, right?
Yes. That would be interesting data to find out how many of
Yeah.
our people are sourcing or like are buying and how many are
Yeah. Because
doing
it's
it on their
funny
own.
because listen, I think anybody is well advised to just do the exercise and see what happens. But
Mhm.
designers are by and by just so darn stylish. It seems like that would not be the difficult part, but probably an interesting exploration too. And probably there's designers listening going, no, we struggle with what to wear too. What are you talking about? It's not just you, it's us.
Well, and it's
Yes.
also one of those pieces where you're busy in what you're doing.
Mm.
May not have time, and that's just one more thing that we can take off of your plate too.
I love that idea. Yeah.
Because it used to be, we've gone through iterations of this, and it used to be that Ava and I would make the wardrobe mood board for you, and then you'd shop accordingly. But we did start, like, even some of our most stylish friends that feel like they have the best wardrobes and unlimited budgets, they were still like, oh, this is so helpful. I'm so glad you gave this to me. But now I have to go actually shop for it and like figure out what the heck to do. And so I think, yeah, it just really helps with the busyness
Yeah,
Yes.
aspect of
her
it.
shoppable
Yes.
links, just, swipe and move on.
That's it. That's nice. That's very nice. That's very nice. So, any closing thoughts or ideas that we left dangling around in your beautiful brains there?
I don't think so. I guess I would just like reiterate our advice is always focus on your branding at least once or twice a year, like where you're really being proactive with it and having an expert help you. And it's going to help you stand out. It's going to help you grow your following, build a more trustworthy look about yourself, people who are just singing your praises and can't wait to work with you rather than a fence sitter.
Love it. I love it. Ava, want to add anything, or we're letting Brittany bring it home?
Yep, she's ringing it in.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you ladies. It was so fun getting to know both of you. I have a feeling our paths will be crossing. I'm sure I'm going to be either hiring you or seeing you doing your thing at the
Yes.
markets and stuff. So I'm looking forward to meeting you in real life. Thanks for
Yay.
joining me today.
Thanks, Luann.
Thanks. Bye.